9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Yes, Jaws is an overrated movie. People don't like it. It's too slow. Super lame. Super lame. I even had Murphy texting me. I think Murphy likes Jaws. He didn't text me anything about Jaws. He texted me, "What's your favorite movie?" So I kind of read the, I could see the writing on the wall there. So I like Boondock Saints. It's a pretty good one. I don't know. I don't have a favorite movie. Had a great weekend though. Hope you had a great weekend as well. Was awesome. We got to go do the Nashville Sounds game Saturday night. Me and the family. It was Faith and Family night, so a bunch of church crew went. So that was fun. Pool's open. We have a community pool. It's nice. It's like you get to do all the pool things without any of the work.
Yes.
Sign me up for that. So we were hanging out by the pool. The weather got dicey at times, but we're here. We're here. All's well.
Yeah, I mean, the weather cooperated yesterday, but...
Yeah.
So Saturday night, it was good for the Sounds game, though?
Saturday, it was great.
Good. I'm glad. That's awesome. Did we win?
I think so.
Okay. Fair enough.
With 4 kids.
Yeah, it's fair.
With 4 kids, my view was essentially the inflatable slide.
Yes.
That was my view for a lot of the night.
Hey, that's not much different from my view, and I don't even have kids, so I get that.
I wouldn't change it. We had a blast. I love the baseball in general with family. Yeah. That's like the best sport to go to.
100%. Especially, the Sounds, man. There's so many different things to do other than the game. They make it really family friendly. That's awesome.
It was awesome. We had a great time. But as I'm kind of catching up on prep over the weekend, I'm seeing what happened. Did you see that Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar, they tweeted out Veterans Day messages for Memorial Day?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was the first news story I saw when I popped back in midday Monday to see what I missed. Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar, they work in government. They're members of Congress, and they mixed up Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Obviously, the difference is Memorial Day honors soldiers that passed away in the line of duty. Veterans Day celebrates living soldiers. Cori Bush wrote, "This Memorial Day and every day, we honor our veterans in St. Louis. We must invest in universal health care, affordable housing, comprehensive mental health services, and educational and economic opportunities for our veterans as we work to build a world free of war and violence." There's so much wrong with that tweet. So much. For starters, Memorial Day, we honor our veterans in St. Louis. You missed it. And then to land on universal health care when your party is the party of open borders and we have illegal aliens taking spots of veterans at the VA, it's just a huge joke. Huge joke. Ilhan Omar was right behind her. She wrote, "On Memorial Day, we honor the heroic men and women who served our country. We owe them more than our gratitude. They have more than earned access to quality mental health services, job opportunities, housing assistance, and the benefits they were promised." These two work for Congress. And they have no idea. They have no idea what Memorial Day is.
It's funny how they quickly delete the tweets thinking, "Ooh, nobody saw it."
Oh, but the internet lives forever.
Of course.
So, yeah, they delete the tweets. Cori Bush put out a new one where she changed the wording. But, yes, the internet lives forever. Both posts were issued Monday morning, deleted by the afternoon. In its place, Cori Bush wrote, "This Memorial Day, we honor those who served and lost their lives for our country." Yep. It's like, you just really messed that up. Really messed that up. Embarrassing. In a separate post to her personal account, Ilhan Omar also tried to clean up the mess that she made, saying, "On Memorial Day, let's say thank you to the brave men and women who selflessly sacrificed their lives in service to our country. Thank you to the families who have also sacrificed and have dedicated their time to ensuring their loved ones are remembered." So, second time's the charm for Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush. It's funny, though, the president put out something for Memorial Day as well. He put a nice graphic on his Twitter account, and he writes, "We must never forget the price that was paid to protect our democracy. We must never forget the lives these flags, flowers, and marble markers represent. A mother, a father, a son, a daughter, a sister, a spouse, a friend, an American. Which, of course, it's nice, but, you left out brothers. You left out brothers. You led with mothers. And while we do have a much more inclusive military in 2024, let's not joke and act like it's not majority men that have lost their lives on the battlefield. Let's not hide from that reality. So when the president leads with mother, it's kind of a miss. When he leaves out brother, that's definitely a miss, and that's what we get from our commander-in-chief.
Chris, do you think that Joe Biden has ever really done any of his own tweets and own social media? Come on.
No. And
who do you think is really
but does that
doing all this?
Does that make it worse or does that make it better?
Great question.
Because if it's an 81-year-old senile man who's messing things up, I can give him more of a pass than the young team that he has doing his social media. And we've all seen the tweets in the past where, what's her name? Cringe Jean-Pierre. She'll tweet something out and it'll say that it's from the president, and then she quickly deletes it. We've seen that. We've seen that happen a couple times.
Do you think Trump does his?
Yes, absolutely.
He's notorious for doing social media 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
I still miss Trump on Twitter and wish he would come back to those 3 a.m. tweet storms. It was a simpler time. It was a better time, and I think we need that back. I do, honestly. It's just it's such a joke though when we have elected members of Congress mixing up Veterans Day, Memorial Day. We have the President of the United States just leaving brothers out of his little commemorative post. Huge joke. And this is what we get. But, the president didn't mess anything up when he commemorated George Floyd over the weekend, though. He nailed that one. Joe Biden commemorated the 4th anniversary of George Floyd's death with a social media post on the 25th. And he said that George Floyd's death started a civil rights movement and that Americans should act in his memory. He said, "Today I join all those who loved him and all those touched by the civil rights movement he inspired in remembering the tragedy and justice of his death." So the Biden team posted on Twitter as from the POTUS account. "He changed the world. Now let's act in his memory." George Floyd. So we get a Memorial Day message where he leaves out brothers, and then we get a George Floyd post where he says he changed the world. He changed the world. What a brave man. We're so lucky. Let's just I know it's been a while. The gentle giant known as George Floyd. He has a criminal record that spanned decades. 1997, possession with intent to manufacture, deliver a controlled substance, cocaine. 1998, theft from a person, $50 to $500. 1998, theft from a person with weapon under $20,000. 2001, failure to identify. 2002, possession with intent to manufacture, deliver of a controlled substance. 2003, criminal trespassing, forbidden entry. 2004, possession with intent to manufacture, deliver of a controlled substance. 2005, possession with intent to manufacture, deliver of a controlled substance. 2007, aggravated assault and robbery. This is the one you probably heard about, where he had possession of a deadly weapon. He pointed a gun at the belly of a pregnant black woman after breaking into her home. That's the one everybody talks about. That was 2007. 2020, we knew what happened in 2020. Counterfeit money got him arrested. You can look at the medical exam reports. Fentanyl was the cause of death. But let's not let the facts get in the way of a good tragedy. And the president didn't when he commemorated George Floyd saying we should all act in his memory. What a joke. In addition to Biden's personal message, though, the White House also released a message on George Floyd, honoring him. Their message said, "The day before George Floyd's funeral, his young daughter, Gianna, told me, 'Daddy changed the world.' 4 years after her father's murder, there is no doubt that he has," the statement read. "As we mark this solemn day tomorrow, We join George Floyd's family in remembering his life and his legacy. We are vigilant of black and brown communities who all too often have borne the brunt of injustice, and we recommit ourselves to honoring George Floyd's legacy by ensuring our nation lives up to its founding ideal that we are all created equal and deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives. So nice. So nice. What a joke. They put more time and effort into their statement for George Floyd than they put into their statement for Memorial Day. Do you expect anything less than that? And as Joe Biden is seeing his support in the black communities flee, he feels like this kind of stuff is really going to move the needle. I don't know if it will. This is we've seen this a lot. And recently, ASU, Arizona State University, they had a George Floyd art exhibit unveiled, and it's unbelievable. They treat this guy like he's Jesus.
It's been a rough ride. When I came here today, I almost had an emotional breakdown. Because it reminded me the day that George Floyd got killed. Where they get you to lay the flowers at. And the red represent the blood. And the white represent the purification that George Floyd died for us. Each and every last one of us.
Yeah, George Floyd died for us, each and every one of us. That was when they unveiled the art exhibit at Arizona State University. Where, again, they depict Floyd as Jesus Christ, with activists at the mural asserting that Floyd died for each and every last one of us. What are we doing in America? We spend more time honoring a man who pointed a gun at the belly of a pregnant woman than we do veterans that lost their lives as we celebrate Memorial Day. The White House definitely took more time on the statement for George Floyd than they did for those we honor on Memorial Day. Unbelievable. It's 9:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Real quick, Rich in Sparta, you're on Super Talk. What's up, Rich?
Hi, Chris. I'm sitting here listening to you this morning, and I wanted to thank you on behalf of the veterans in this world. I'm a former United States Marine Corps. My grandfather won the Silver Star in World War II. My dad went to Vietnam. My uncle went to Vietnam. I went to the desert. And every one of us came back. 3 years ago, I buried my grandson. My grandson, that's just not supposed to happen.
No, it's not.
He didn't come home. But I buried him. And Memorial Day is for those guys.
Amen.
People come up and say to me, Happy Memorial Day, and God, that makes me so pissed off. But I wanted to say thank you for letting everybody know that there is a gigantic difference in Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Hey, I just wish our members of Congress understood it like you do, Rich.
Yeah, they can't understand it because they weren't there. And when the President of the United States does not even mention the word brother, I couldn't even tell you how many of my brothers that I buried.
It's insulting. It's infuriating, Rich.
Yeah, I'm trying to restrain myself because I don't want you on the dump button. So, yeah, I'm pretty furious over what has gone on with our country in the past couple of years. And where are the people? Where are we at? How can we allow this to happen?
I hear you, Rich, and I thank you for your service, man, and everybody in your family that served as well. We appreciate you.
All right, and again, thank you, sir, for putting that difference out there.
Hey, thanks, Rich. It's 9:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I tell you guys, you got to get your maintenance done. It's becoming critical right now to get your maintenance done. The temperatures are going up. They're going to be staying there. And if you haven't gotten your maintenance done, you're waiting for a problem to pop up with your AC this time of year. And full disclosure, I didn't get my maintenance done, and I had a problem pop up with my AC this time of year. Super embarrassing. What do you do in that situation? Well, I'll tell you what you do. You call Busy Bee. And if you're a member of the Beehive Club like I am, you get that front-of-the-line priority service. So when I had dirty coils, embarrassed to say it, I had dirty coils, Busy Bee was at my home in less than an hour. You should become a Beehive Club member as well. It's not super expensive. It's not expensive at all. Actually, when you become a Beehive Club member, it's only $99, and the value you get far exceeds that. Like 3 annual tune-ups, 1 on your heating, 1 on your cooling, 1 on your plumbing, 10% discount on all repairs, priority, front-of-the-line service. That was huge for me. You also get a $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000 and no overtime or holiday fees, plus exclusive Beehive member promotions. All that value for just $99 to join the Beehive Club. Plus, Busy Bee will always come see you on Saturday. They have those convenient Saturday availability hours for your maintenance calls, so you'll never be left waiting all weekend long for your AC to be fixed. Busy Bee's your Rude Pro partner for satisfaction guaranteed. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Online at busybeehvac.com.
2 inmates are on the run after they break out of a Louisiana prison. And there's big news in the cell phone carrier world. We'll have those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, sir. It's 9:28 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hope you're getting back into the groove after the long weekend. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on Air. Gary, who's a Marine out in Greensboro, wants to mention something about Memorial Day. Gary, thanks for your service and welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's Greenbrier, Tennessee.
Greenboro.
Yeah, real quick, my dad had served. He was Command Sergeant Major, Vietnam. I served Vietnam era and on, but I lost Marines and had a corporal take my place. One mission, I don't want to go into detail, but he lost his life with less than 30 days left for this 4-year tour. And I retired myself back in '96. Point being is, being a member of the VFW, we remind people that the memorial is for the dead.
Yep.
The dead. Only for the dead. And I appreciate when they say thank you for your service. It sure beats the time during Vietnam era. But this whole thing about the flags on these trucks at a national park, I'm at this point, literally, these kind of people, I'll put somebody right in the mouth the second they say something about a flag on my truck. I'm telling you, I'm done. And the only way to cure what's going on in this country is to start holding the judicial system accountable and throwing judges in jail for allowing frivolous lawsuits and all this candy coddling.
I hear you, Gary, and I appreciate you being fired up, man, and calling in. Thanks so much. The story you was talking about, we talked about during the Amigos. Denali National Park, there's some guys fixing a bridge out there. They got a big contract, and they had the audacity to bring an American flag on their truck. And the Denali National Park said, can you remove the flag because it doesn't fit the park experience? Yeah. Oh, okay. Just in case you're thinking about going to any national parks, the memo has been served. Leave the flags at home, please. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, it is 9:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Plenty of sunshine, 75 degrees on Music Row. A complete forecast coming up. Law enforcers in South Louisiana, they're searching for 2 inmates who busted out of a local jail over the weekend. ABC's Jim Ryan says these escapees are considered quite dangerous.
He's only 19, but Omarion Hookfin has been charged with murder. He and 20-year-old armed robbery suspect Jamarcus Cyprian escaped from the Tangipahoa Parish Jail on Sunday. Law enforcers think they're far from the area now. They're warning anyone who tries to help them that they are committing a crime.
Initially, there were 4 escapees, but 2 of them have been recaptured. A big move in the cell phone carrier world. ABC's Sherry Preston fills us in.
T-Mobile has announced it's going to acquire almost all of U.S. Cellular in a deal worth nearly $4.5 billion, pending government review. The deal affecting about 4 million customers nationwide. T-Mobile says it's especially good news for people who live in underserved rural areas who might have had limited service in the past.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
9:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Some people have really taken my take on Jaws personally. like 5091. So you missed it during the Amigos earlier, about an hour ago. I was not a fan of Jaws. Too slow. I think it's overrated.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a mild take.
Yeah, I don't think that's that hot.
Out of all the takes that I've had,
Yes, seriously.
I didn't expect this to be the one to get people really riled up,
Yes, seriously.
but it has. 5091 said, Chris, you Gen Z boneheads wouldn't know a great movie if it swims up and bites you in the ass. Oh, it's a Jaws reference. See, I would swim out of the way.
That's a Jaws.
I would swim out of the way because it's so slow. Also, I'm not Gen Z.
Yeah, no, you're no.
I am a millennial.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And even that one, it's like, ugh, yuck. But I grew up without the internet, so.
Yeah, I'd definitely call you millennial.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaws for its time. I mean, sure. Definitely changed a lot of the way movies were done. Not Spielberg's best by far. It's a great monologue in that first movie, but that's about it.
Not a fan of Jaws either?
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. But yeah, overrated. For sure. Way overrated.
Sharknado or Jaws? Which one are you going to watch?
Honestly, Sharknado.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
more entertaining.
Every time. Every time. It's not hard. That's light work.
Exactly.
That's like choosing between Biden and Trump. Like, of course, I'm going to go with the guy that's actually exciting.
Bingo.
You know? It's easy.
So, Mac, were you referring, when you said monologue, were you referring to Quint's speech?
When
he's talking about the Indianapolis and the Sharks.
yeah,
know,
the Sharks,
and
they'll bite you.
Yeah.
They'll look
yeah.
at you
You know,
right
that
in the
was,
eye.
that was,
one. Yeah.
that was mostly ad-libbed.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's incredible. That makes it even better. It's incredible. That's a great monologue.
I was more entertained listening to Mac do the accent than I was at the original monologue.
Look right in the eye.
Larry in Clarksville, you're on Super Talk. What's up, Larry?
Hey, brother. Good morning. And to the last two callers, salute to them for their service from an old Cold War Air Force sergeant. It absolutely infuriates me that we have people sitting in Congress that don't know the damn difference. That tells you what intelligence is up there and why nothing can get done.
Yeah, and Larry's talking about Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush. They sent out tweets commemorating Memorial Day, but didn't understand that it wasn't Veterans Day.
And Chris, I am still losing friends today that the VA has screwed over. One of my closest friends was an F-4 fighter pilot in Nam, successfully flew over 130 missions. And after Biden got in office, the VA cut his benefits.
Jeez.
He was having to pay for everything out of pocket.
That's crazy.
I mean, so, you know.
Well, it's like he has to pay for things out of pocket, but an illegal alien does not.
Exactly. So this administration and the little NSA and CIA and FBI and all you little, you know, well, I won't say the word on the air. Come ask me, by God. I can tell you, and I'll tell you to your face.
Hey, I hear you, Larry. I do.
All right. Thanks, Chris. And
Hey.
thanks for letting people know the difference.
Hey, I appreciate you, Larry. Thanks for listening, man. Gary in Greenbrier has a comment. So, Gary, you're next on Super Talk.
Yeah, and I appreciate you letting me on again. But reference that, and I hate to follow what was just said because that's pretty somber. But a little lighter note on life, so my head don't blow up. 5 Marines in 1975. We go see the movie Jaws.
Okay.
We're in the theater in Jacksonville, North Carolina. When that shark came out of the water, 5 Marines almost in each other's laps, hugging, grabbing hands. I'm telling you, it really happened. Scared us to death. We had no training for such an enemy.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to keep all my comments inside my head, Gary.
There you go. Thank you much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks. John in Lebanon, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, John?
Hey, buddy, it drives me nuts, too, that people don't know the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. But, I just wanted to give you firsthand testimony of how veterans get treated sometimes. I spent 6 years active military in the Navy, in the U.S. Submarine Force, and I was denied VA benefits because, quote, my household income was too high. And I don't recall any of that being said prior to my signing up.
No.
But
that seems like a joke.
I work for the state now, and I there was one veteran that worked beside me that got his military time applied to his state time, and it helped him have more benefits. When I went to do that, I was told I couldn't have that done because I didn't serve during wartime. I went out there and busted my butt, and because I didn't serve during a war, it cost me benefits. I don't get that.
No, that blows my mind, man. But it's like this administration proves time and time again that, non-citizens, illegal aliens are far more important than you guys,
You got it, buddy. And, hey, thank you guys for what you do.
Hey, we appreciate you, John. Thanks for listening, man.
Yes, sir.
And we see more and more people coming across the border every single day, and this is one of the things that infuriates me the most. It's America last. We don't take care of our veterans. We don't even know what we're commemorating or celebrating on Memorial Day. It's a huge joke. I saw a news story over the weekend. More migrants. It's always migrants, not illegal aliens. These are undocumented newcomers, if you will. They're just surging in California, like they're Nikki Haley or something, and they're overwhelming Border Patrol in the area, and there's groups of people wandering around in California looking for Border Patrol to turn themselves in.
Crossed illegally, looking for Border Patrol, but there's no Border Patrol around. Agents are busy elsewhere processing other groups who have crossed elsewhere. So these migrants just wander around. This group in particular, we don't know if they were ever apprehended or not.
They don't even know if these groups are being apprehended. And where's Border Patrol? Well, Border Patrol is actually on the other side of town, busy with the League of Nations.
We'll show you why Border Patrol's so busy. Take a look at this video. Other side of town, they were processing this group of more than 100 that came in from all around the planet. This group had folks from China, India, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Cameroon, Georgia, many others. We talked to one guy from the Middle East who said he wants to go to New York City, and he is not here for asylum. Take a listen. Where are you from?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. How did you get here?
Just I crossed the border.
I know you crossed the border. Where'd you fly into? How did you get here?
I came from the Brazil.
From Brazil. Okay. Why did you come to the U.S.?
For the job, for work.
You want to work. You know it's illegal to come here across the border like this, right?
Yeah.
Not a big deal?
No.
No, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. When you listen to Bill Malugion's reporting, I would challenge you to go find a report from like 2 years ago with Bill Malugion, because you can hear in his voice he is growing more and more tired with the situation at the southern border, more and more upset. And you can hear it when he's talking to the illegal aliens crossing, and you can hear it when he's reporting on these stories. He goes on to talk about the cartel human smugglers that are getting people over the border, assaulting border agents. This is happening on our southern border.
And then take a look at this wild video out of Santa Teresa, New Mexico, from a Texas DPS helicopter showing Border Patrol agents responding to cartel smugglers trying to bring illegal immigrants over the border wall using a ladder. A tug-of-war happens with the ladder, and you'll see the agents are being pelted by the smugglers with rocks, bottles, and dirt as they're trying to make these apprehensions. Ultimately, they are able to get that ladder off the wall, but that's what our agents are having to deal with at the border day in and day out.
Being pelted with rocks, bottles, dirt, our border agents. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? And the people that come in, they get to cut in front of our veterans in line at the VA. What a joke. There's so many coming in that one group got tired of waiting for Border Patrol, and they just called themselves a Lyft.
And back out here live, you touched on it a minute ago. We saw something remarkable out here. There were groups of migrants sitting around for hours waiting for Border Patrol. Well, some Colombians we had been talking to got fed up of waiting. They literally called a Lyft driver. That Lyft pulled up right in front of us. They got into the car and they took off. No Border Patrol anywhere. They are now presumed gotaways.
That story's insane. But I wonder how often this is happening, right? Because Lyft and Uber, if you have the app on your phone, you can use it wherever. How many illegal aliens are crossing the border and then ordering an Uber? Honestly. Because then if you pull that car over, right, how does that work with law enforcement? Because you're a passenger, right? So you're not really connected to the driver. I wonder if any law enforcement officers have any experience with this, just dealing with Ubers in general. How do you separate the driver from the passenger in that scenario? Because if you pull over the driver, you can't necessarily search the passengers, right? It blows my mind. How is this not happening more? And maybe it is, and we just don't hear about it. But you're waiting for Border Patrol to turn yourself in. You get fed up of waiting, and then you decide to order a Lyft. What? Insanity. Also, we had a story last week about the Jordanian who tried to enter the Marine Corps base in the U.S. ICE has confirmed that he entered the U.S. illegally through the southern border. I have that story on the way. Plus, Admiral Daryl Caudill, he says that illegal aliens trying to get on military bases happening way more than you know. Way more. This audio is going to shock you. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. You know Paul, I know Paul. He hosts the Investor Coaching Show here on WTN every Saturday from 3 to 6. He had a great show this past weekend, but you may not know how he started that show or when he did. He actually started after he spent time studying under an economist who went on to win a Nobel Prize. That's how Paul cut his teeth in the industry. He's an avid collector of financial planning designations. He has up to 8 now. And if you're looking for somebody to help you with your financial future, your financial freedom, Paul's the guy I recommend. My wife and I, we work with Paul. We heard him on WTN way before I got my show here, and I was learning from him just by listening. So when I came on board, it was super easy. I was like, yeah, I want to work with Paul. And here's why. Paul's team hold themselves to the highest level of fiduciary status. Because of that, Paul wants to make sure that I tell you I get paid when I do these commercials. He just wants me to be honest, transparent, open. Where else do you hear that? I like that. I respect that. I also like that Paul and his team will educate you along the way so you never get that uneasy feeling of blind trust. And they make sure that they don't do anything on commission so, you can be confident with the advice that they're giving you. They're going to look at your whole financial picture, then help you make decisions because your financial picture is going to be unique to you. So set up a 15-minute phone call today with Paul and his team. Let's get that ball rolling downhill. Go to paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com.
Donald Trump speaking to reporters this morning before his hush money trial. We'll have some of what he said. An Israeli military spokesperson says they will investigate what transpired in Gaza that ended up killing dozens of Palestinian civilians. And an NBA great is being remembered. Those stories coming up at 10 a.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. It's 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We were just talking off air. Mac told me, Ken's on vacation all week, so I wanted to play a prank on him of some sort. I said maybe we toilet paper his house, and I said no, I got a better one. Let's put a Biden-Harris stick sign in his front yard.
Riding with Biden.
Riding with Biden 2024. Do you think?
Bingo.
I just have to find a Biden sign. Where do you think we can find a Biden sign around here?
The dump should be a good starting point.
It's a good. Hey. We'd have to dig through, but we could probably find one. Patrick in Gallatin has a comment on Lyft. Patrick, we were talking about a story where the newcomers at the border are actually getting tired of waiting for Border Patrol agents, so they're just ordering Lyfts. Patrick, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, now, mind you, I'm not law enforcement, and I've only done it for Lyft for a little bit, but I think the Fourth Amendment, if as a driver you're pulled over, and they suspect you're carrying illegals or a criminal, you can either play the hey, not without a warrant game, or be cooperative with them. But as soon as you show them you're a driver for either company, you're kind of clear of anything they may be doing. So that's my guess on it.
Well, I just wonder what would be police's probable cause to interrogate and or search the passengers of an Uber if you're pulled over as the driver for committing an offense?
Well, again, they'd have to have some probable cause. But if they say we suspect this, or you can either cooperate and fully cooperate, or you go stand your ground constitutionally.
Yeah,
but I'll leave it. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I'm going to leave it that with you, and great show. Have a great day.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Yeah, the story was that they're illegals that are surging the border in Cali, and some of them are tired of waiting for Border Patrol agents, so they called it a Lyft because, who wants to wait for Border Patrol?
And back out here live, you touched on it a minute ago. We saw something remarkable out here. There were groups of migrants sitting around for hours waiting for Border Patrol. Well, some Colombians we had been talking to got fed up of waiting. They literally called a Lyft driver. That Lyft pulled up right in front of us. They got into the car and they took off.
Awesome. Using technology to smuggle humans. It's only southern border things. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 10 a.m. and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Plenty of sunshine, 78 degrees, a full forecast here in a couple of minutes. Closing arguments are underway in the hush money trial against former President Trump. Trump's accused of falsifying business records and violating campaign finance law in 2016 when prosecutors say he tried to cover up an alleged affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels. Before court today, Trump telling reporters he's innocent.
See how it goes. This is a very dangerous day for America. It's a very sad day.
Defense attorneys are presenting their closing arguments first. Then the prosecution will present their closing arguments to the jury. After that, jurors will get their final instructions from the judge and then begin deliberating. A spokesman for the Israeli military is promising a swift, comprehensive, and transparent investigation into the airstrike that resulted in the deaths of dozens of Palestinians in Rafah on Sunday. After the strike targeting Hamas leaders, a fire broke out at a refugee camp that killed dozens. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 50 people were killed. Israeli Defense Forces spokesman Daniel Hagari said it's too early to determine what caused the fire to grow so large and so quickly.
Even when we do find the cause of the fire that erupted,
it won't make this situation any less tragic.
NBA greats are remembering basketball legend and champion Bill Walton. He passed away yesterday. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
Tributes pouring in from across the NBA. Steph Curry saying he always brought the best energy and humanity to every room he walked into. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying he wasn't happy unless he did everything he could to make everyone around him happy. Walton died after a long battle with cancer. He was 71.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Under Trump,
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So over the weekend, I understand you probably weren't paying attention to news. I don't want you to. Not a Memorial Day weekend, right? Take the time that you have with your family, spend it with your family. But there was an interesting interview on Fox News. Very interesting, especially given the recent events that we've had at military bases across the country. There was the incident where two Jordanian nationals tried to sneak onto a Marine Corps base in Virginia this month. That was confirmed by ICE that they had illegally crossed the southern border in April. And Admiral Daryl Cottle was on Fox News, and he was talking about how often this stuff actually happens at military bases. Foreign nationals trying to sneak on. A lot more than you think.
Chechens, Jordanians, some of them just crossed the border. What's going on?
Well, this thing of our military bases getting penetrated by foreign nationals is happening more and more. This is something we see probably 2 or 3 times a week, where we're stopping these folks at the gate with a week at least, and this is just Navy alone.
Navy bases alone, says Admiral Daryl Cottle. We see this 2 or 3 times a week. A week. at Navy bases alone.
This is something we see probably 2 or 3 times a week, where we're stopping these folks at the gate with
a week,
a week at least, and this is just Navy alone.
Terrifying. We've been waiting for the other shoe to drop on what could be a terror attack in this country. We know that the alerts are at an all-time high because of the wide open southern border. We see U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirming that 2 Jordanian nationals who try to sneak onto a Marine Corps base are here illegally. And this guy goes on TV and says, 2 to 3 times a week. Why isn't this a major headline? It should be.
Where we're seeing folks try to come in, and usually the cover story is, and I'm a student, I'm here, I'm an enthusiast, I want to see the ships, that type of thing. We have to turn them around. And typically we get NCIS involved with those, and we get biometrics when possible. But yes, there's been an uptick in that.
Do they have passports? Do they have?
A lot of times they have passports.
Papers?
They have papers, yes. But they're in no way, shape, or form authorized to be on our base. And it's really hard for us to tell the underlying motive for these type of cases.
Wow, that's stunning.
It is.
It's got to be a concern.
This is Russian, Chinese. It comes from all these different nations.
So not all of them are illegal foreign nationals. Some of them could be here on any type of visa. But this has to be alarming. Russians, Chinese, trying to get onto U.S. military bases. We know from previous reporting that 81 terror watch list suspects have entered the country illegally since October. We know that people are sneaking across the border, and then as they wait for Border Patrol to apprehend them, they get fed up and they just order a Lyft and drive into the interior of the country. Is this not alarming to anyone else? I don't think we're going to see this on ABC News or NBC News or CBS this evening, but I think we should.
We're seeing an uptick in it.
In addition to that, there's been some reporting on this over the last 6 months. You're getting 2 or 3 drones flying over military bases in America per week.
And drones flying over military bases, 2 to 3 in America per week. Per week. Jeez. What are we doing? What are we doing? Well, the Biden administration is doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's insanity. The southern border is wide open. Foreign nationals trying to sneak onto our military bases. Foreign nationals flying drones over our military bases. And we do nothing. This is insanity. And then when you hear stories like that's not a red flag to the government. And neither are stories like this, where a Haitian national who came to the U.S. with the Biden parole program has been indicted for child rape in Massachusetts. It's like there's story after story of this. A Haitian national that was on Joe Biden's parole program was charged in a rape case that took place in Massachusetts at a Comfort Inn in Rockland. He's been indicted for child rape. Corey Alvarez. He was arrested in March, indicted this week by a grand jury with charges of child rape of a disabled 15-year-old girl. He traveled to the U.S. with the Biden administration's Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan parole process. According to a press release from District Attorney Tim Cruz, a Plymouth County grand jury returned indictments charging Corey B. Alvarez, 26, with 1 count of each: aggravated rape of a child with 10-year age difference and rape of a child by force. In March, Alvarez was found dangerous, and he currently remains held without bail, the release continued. After Alvarez was brought to a hotel-turned-immigrant shelter, he was reported to authorities after a call to the police. So not only are they bringing these monsters into our country, well, then they're putting them in an immigrant shelter where they can prey on innocent kids. Alvarez reportedly brought the 15-year-old girl to his room through an app on a device and then committed the alleged crime. The indictment press release added, upon arrival, Rockland police encountered the 15-year-old victim, who was then transported to the South Shore Hospital for treatment. As a result of their investigation, Rockland police developed probable cause to arrest Alvarez. He was taken into custody. This is who Joe Biden's letting into the country. People like Corey Alvarez, who are raping disabled 15-year-old kids. And the longer they leave the southern border open, we see more stories like this. We hear more stories like foreign nationals trying to get onto our military bases. And yet they do nothing. The indictment press release added, upon arrival, Rockland police encountered the 15-year-old female who was transported to the hospital for treatment. As a result of their investigation, Rockland police developed probable cause to arrest Alvarez. This case is receiving attention with lawmakers commenting on concerns over the background check process for those who are enrolled in the parole program and then brought into the country. Even Massachusetts' governor, Maura Healey, said that Alvarez passed 2 background checks, one done by the state and the other for immigrants specifically. Well, then the background checks aren't good enough. Alvarez is going to be arraigned on the indictment in a superior court at a later date. Roger in the borough wants to talk about Lyft drivers at the border. Roger, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm just curious about something. I drive for Lyft, and there's no cash involved. So do these people automatically, when they come across the border, they just giving them a credit card they can use or setting them up with a bank account?
Well, I mean, there are definitely programs where they're given money, but I mean, I don't even think that that's necessarily the thing here, because if I go to a different country, my Uber app is still going to work, right?
Okay, so they were wealthy enough in their impoverished country that they're trying to escape with all the bombs going off, and they're so in danger and everything that they had an Uber account.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bunch of BS. Somebody's funding all this. I mean, how do people from China and India get to South America so they can come across the border? I mean, who's buying the flights to get them, to South America? We're not looking deep enough at this. It just pisses me off. I'm sorry.
Oh, me and you both. Me and you both.
Well, that was all I could. I mean, setting them up with a bank account or giving them a credit card or whatever. I just don't, like I said, some people think Uber and Lyft are like a taxi. You can just, pay them as you go, but that's not it. No money ever exchanges hands in the car.
Yep.
And it's just amazing to me that all this is happening just right before our eyes, and we're worried about Taylor Swift's next boyfriend. God almighty.
I'm with you, Roger. I appreciate the call, man. And it's like it's affecting so much. So military bases are having foreign nationals try to come on. At least in the Navy, Admiral Cottle says 2 to 3 times a week. He said that on Fox News just over the weekend.
Yeah, this is something we see probably 2 or 3 times a week, where we're stopping these folks at the gate with
a week.
A week at least, and this is just Navy alone.
And we hear stories where children are being raped by newcomers. And then we see other stories where the massive immigration wave on Biden's watch is putting a strain on public schools across the United States. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Since 2021, the Journal reports, as many as 1 million children have arrived with their families or on their own to the United States, most through the nation's southern border, where nearly 8 million migrants have been encountered thus far under Biden. That's what's been encountered. As a result, public schools where migrant children are resettling, and they say migrant, it's the Wall Street Journal, illegal alien, have been hit with financial and staffing burdens they have not experienced before. Specifically, the Journal chronicles the school district of Stoughton, Massachusetts. It's a suburb of Boston, where they have more than 500 illegal alien kids enrolled in their English as a Second Language programs, ESL, twice as many compared to 3 years prior. So the numbers are going up, and it's your kids that are taking a hit. Honestly, your kids, your grandkids are seeing this in their public schools. And if they're not seeing it in their public schools, they're going to be taking a hit on this financially, because they're going to be paying for this for years to come. The increase was fueled in Massachusetts partly by 90 students ranging from kindergarten to high school placed by the state in 2 nearby hotels serving as homeless shelters. Many are from recently arrived Haitian migrant families, the Wall Street Journal reports. Every school is seeing this. We're seeing this in Tennessee schools as well. But in this specific one, the Stoughton School District has had to add staff with almost 20 ESL teachers now and pay for school buses to pick up and drop off migrant children from the hotels they are living in. The financial burden, they say, has become enormous. For Staunton, they have fewer than 30,000 residents. They say the mass immigration of their community has made the school district dish out at least $500,000 in additional costs. $500,000. The school district officials said it's not just the ESL programs that have had to be expanded. They've also had to expand an emotional component, as many migrant children arrive with trauma, either from their native country or from the often deadly journey they had to endure coming across the southern border. Huge trauma issues, the superintendent told the Journal. There are students who don't even have the basic skills in their first language. In some cases, they have lived in 2 or 3 or 4 countries and are not even 5 years old. And listen, while I feel bad for them, is it our financial responsibility to take care of these kids? Honestly, is it our responsibility? I don't think it is. Researchers with the Center for Immigration Studies analyzed the impact of mass immigration under the Biden administration, finding that in 2021, 1 in 4 public school students in the United States were from immigrant households, and that more than doubles the share in 1990, triples the share from 1980. And with more immigration, the researchers found, comes more poverty in the nation's public schools. Adding, immigration has added disproportionately to the number of low-income students in public schools. So you're paying for it. George in Clarksville, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, George?
I got a.
Hey, George, you there?
I got a. Yeah, you there?
Yep.
I got a comment on the guy that called in. He was in the Navy and couldn't get benefits.
Yep.
I'm not military, but my wife is. She did 6 years. Been over to Iraq. She's 100% disabled. She's going through breast cancer right now.
Sorry to hear that.
Trying to fight that, but on his comment, my wife's ex-husband. It's kind of a question. My wife's ex-husband is ex-military, never has left the base over at 101st, and he's getting 100%. So I'm just trying to find out how people are getting this 100% disability.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had an answer to that. I don't know the ins and outs on how that works. But we'll definitely try and look into it and get you some more answers, George. I appreciate the call. But as far as the southern border goes, you're paying for this. They're putting illegal aliens in front of you, in front of your kids, in front of our veterans, and we see it every single day. And we see a lack of mainstream media accountability or coverage on any of these topics. None of them. We just don't see it. Do you think you're going to hear this on the evening news tonight?
Yeah, this is something we see probably 2 or 3 times a week, where we're stopping these folks at the gate with a week at least, and this is just Navy alone.
No, you're not going to hear anything about that on the evening news. You just won't, because it doesn't fit the carefully curated narrative that they're pushing, where, America is a lot better under Joe Biden. It's 10:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
If Trump is convicted in the New York hush money trial, what are the chances he would serve any time? We'll have someone weigh in on that. And the storms that struck Texas still raging in parts of that state. We'll have those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. It's 10:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm paying attention to what's happening outside the courtroom for the hush money trial, the trial of the century, if you will. Trump's defense is making closing arguments now. I don't understand why they did this, but I think the Dems brought Robert De Niro with them. He's standing with a bunch of Biden spokespeople. Robert De Niro. Bobby's out there. Bobby. I don't understand why. It's like nobody really cares what you have to say. Let's see. Let's listen to him. I know we don't care, but it's for fun.
I mean, this is really, even these people over here are kind of...
Did you hear that? That's people heckling Robert De Niro, screaming F you at him. It gets worse. As he continues to talk, he gets really interrupted by these, protesters, if you will. I don't know if they're protesters, but I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
They start screaming at him, you're a pedophile.
Whoa.
If you listen in the background, you can hear it.
It's kind of crazy. It's really crazy. And this thing, Donald Trump has created this. He should be telling them not to do this. But he's just, he wants to sow total, he wants to sow total chaos.
He gets a little bit distracted, right?
Yeah. A lot of screaming.
Robert De Niro's a pedophile. I don't know what evidence that guy.
I was going to say, I haven't heard that, but.
I mean, I've heard it about a lot of celebrities, but I don't know if I've heard specifically Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Which he's succeeding in some areas and places to do. Anyway, beside all that, this is my neighborhood, downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets.
He feels at home in these streets where they're screaming F you and you're a pedophile. It's like, it's New York. It's New York. This is where I live. Okay. He also had a dire warning if Trump gets back in office.
Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait. Maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
I'm already voting for the guy. You don't have to sell me on him. De Niro. Classic.
You know that. He will never leave.
Oh, no. It's like that talking point blows my mind because, like, guys, he left last time. He didn't concede the election. He doesn't think it was on the up and up, but he left, right? He didn't get dragged out of there kicking and screaming. He left. So where does this talking point come from? Only the radical left. Trump was busy this weekend. He was at the Coca-Cola 600 in North Carolina. He was at the Libertarian National Convention. Wild audio coming out of that, and I love it.
This kind of government.
I love it. I really do. And at certain points during the convention, Vivek Ramaswamy was there as well. And Vivek, he goes into the Lion's Den, and he talks about freeing Ross Ulbricht, pardoning Assange, and he says Snowden deserves to come home.
Free Ross, pardon Assange, and Snowden deserves to come home. That much we agree on. I said it on day one of the campaign, and if we have anything to do with it, just met Gabriel, Julian's brother. That man should not be in a foreign prison. That's what it means to be free. And by the way, every peaceful January 6th protester deserves a pardon along with every one of those protesters on day one in this country. That's what it means to stand for one standard of the rule of law in America. Thank you, guys.
So it was fun to see because a lot of the crowd was very hostile towards Trump, towards Vivek, but they went out there, they made their points, and it felt like, to me at least, that they were winning people over despite being booed at times.
So he's speaking here tomorrow night, right? You guys invited him, he's coming here tomorrow. Are you going to agree with him on 100% of what he says? Nope. Do I agree with 100% of his policy positions? No. Okay. But do I believe that he is the best chairman? Who's going to be the president? Is he going to be the Democratic nominee or the Republican nominee? I think Donald Trump is unambiguously. I mean, come on. Look, I invite you to dream on Aerosmith. We got to play the Aerosmith, right? I mean, I'm being honest here.
I love it. They went into the Libertarian National Convention. They had a swagger about them and this confidence of like, guys, you can boo. You know I'm telling you the truth. I have audio from Trump at the Libertarian Convention on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 10:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We're still at 78 degrees with all that sunshine. A forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. Closing arguments are indeed underway in New York in the hush money trial against the former president, President Trump. ABC's Aaron Katursky is outside the courtroom. He says the charges do carry prison time. But if Trump is convicted, it's highly unlikely he would serve any time.
Even Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, has said the interests of justice would be better served had one of the other trials that Trump faces gone to trial first. But here we are, and I don't think the point was ever to incarcerate him. I think the point was to say that he falsified these business records and that was unacceptable, which a conviction would do. I'm not sure the judge would necessarily have to take that extra step. But we'll see.
Defense attorneys are presenting their closing arguments first. Then the prosecution will present their arguments to the jury. After that, jurors will get the final instructions from the judge, and then the deliberation begins. After a holiday weekend that brought tornadoes, hail, and lightning, there's no rest for storm-weary North Texas. ABC's Jim Ryan is there.
Even as the residents of Valley View, where 7 people died in a twister on Saturday, begin to pick up the pieces, another batch of severe weather has moved in from the northwest. A red kidney-shaped storm painted radar screens at around sunrise and moved into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The high winds it brought have knocked out power to more than 500,000 homes and businesses.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. You can watch the show on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and you can catch the podcast, anything you miss, on Apple and Spotify. We're always updating the podcast as the show goes on. So if you hear something you want to share with a friend, you can send it to them. Please subscribe, hit the like button, all the things. So yesterday, as I'm doing my research, I'm diving into Trump at the Libertarian Conference. And one thing that stood out to me is how absolutely lame Robert Kennedy is. So lame. Do you know what they tried to do to Trump, the RFK super PAC? Well, before Trump got out to speak, RFK and the RFK bros at his super PAC decided to hand out rubber chickens.
Donald Trump to take that stage around 8 o'clock, but RFK has been passing these out. These are rubber chickens he was giving out to people here at the convention, David, telling them, debate Bobby. And so they say tonight people are going to be squeezing these, I guess, when Trump's on that stage because they want to see him to take him on the debate stage. Back to you.
I love the Libertarians. All right, Alexis, thank you.
Rubber chickens. They were handing out rubber chickens. Super lame. It's just so cheesy. But anyway, nobody was really squeaking the chickens when Trump got up there. Trump at the Libertarian Convention, listen, they were booing him. They weren't exactly excited to see him. But as Trump went on and continued to speak, he was winning people over. And he wins them over by talking about government overreach. And he says that he's dealing with that himself. He talks about how the government's on him via lawfare.
Last year, I've been indicted by the government on 91 different things. So if I wasn't a libertarian before, I sure as hell am a libertarian now. And unlike Joe Biden, I don't throw people in jail for disagreeing with me. I don't do that.
I mean, you can hear the mixed reactions. You can hear the cheers. You can hear the boos. It was definitely a mixed crowd. Trump goes in there, though, so confident, and he goes scorched earth. This is a bit of a longer clip, okay? It's clocking in around 2 minutes. I want to play this for you in its entirety, and then we can discuss.
Think of this. First time in U.S. history that a presidential candidate of a rival party will address the convention of a party that is presumably gathering to nominate its own candidate. Now I think you should nominate me or at least vote for me, and we should win together. You heard those words. Nominate me or vote. Vote for me. Because the libertarians want to vote for me, and most of them will. And it's very important. Because we have to get rid of the worst president in history. And together we will. And without it, there's a risk that we could have 4 more years, we won't have a country left. So what is the purpose of the Libertarian Party getting 3%? What is the reason to take a chance of having this horrible president destroy our country, which he will do in far less than 4 years? It's not going to take 4 years. That is why I'm committing to you tonight that I will put a libertarian in my cabinet and also libertarians in senior posts. Pretty good. That's pretty big. Or you can keep going the way you have for the last long decades and get your 3% and meet again, get another 3%. No, you want to make yourself winners. It's time to be winners. You have a lot of common sense. It's time to be winners.
It's time to be winners. Listen, he goes in there, and you can't just disqualify the fact that people are booing. People don't like him. But he commands the audience. And you can hear that when he says,
that is why I'm committing to you tonight.
Silence.
That I will put.
He has their attention. And he says he's going to put libertarians in his cabinet in high positions. And he gets cheers. He gets cheers. And then he also says, or you just keep voting the way you're voting and you get your 3% and congrats. congrats, you keep losing. Or you can vote for me and we can win. I love it. I do. I love that he goes somewhere where he's not going to be welcomed warmly, and he sells them on his vision for America. He said something else, which really got the crowd behind him. He said that he would commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served. He's already served 11 years. We're going to get him home.
He didn't open with that, which I think is amazing. If you're unfamiliar with who Ross Ulbricht is, let me take you back to May 2015. Ulbricht was sentenced to life in prison for drug trafficking and money laundering. And everybody says this is an overreach by the government. Ulbricht created the website Silk Road. And they say that website brought drug sellers and buyers together through anonymous transactions paid with Bitcoin. The website was launched in 2011, and Ulbricht used the name Dread Pirate Roberts to run the website until it was shut down in October of 2013. Drugs that were reportedly distributed through the Silk Road website were linked to the deaths of at least 6 people, according to a press release from U.S. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Many attendees of the crowd had signs that they were holding up that read "Free Ross," and Trump says he will free him. It's amazing, though. This is why it's a government overreach, right? All of the stuff that Ross Ulbricht is in prison for life, you can do on Instagram, you can do on Twitter, you can do on Facebook. 100%. So if Ross Ulbricht is dealing with life in prison for setting up a website that people sold drugs on, well, Mark Zuckerberg should be as well. Mark Zuckerberg should have to deal with the rampant pedophilia on Instagram, the sex trafficking that's happening on these platforms. But, Mark Zuckerberg donates to a lot of these government officials, so he's not going to deal with that. But Trump goes in there. He knows that this is a point of contention for the libertarians. He doesn't open with it. He doesn't lead with it. He waits. He gets booed. And then he has the crowd turn in his favor and cheer for him. It's amazing. He goes into the lion's den. He knows that he's going to get hated on. He goes anyway. And he wins them over. He also called for January 6th cases to be reviewed for pardons or commutations on day one.
The moment I win the election, I will appoint a special task force to rapidly review the cases of every political prisoner who has been unjustly persecuted by the Biden administration so that I can sign their pardons or commutations on day one. And I will ensure that libertarians are helping to lead that task force. You'll be on that task force, many of you. As everyone knows, it will be my great honor to pardon the peaceful January 6th protesters, or, as I often call them, the hostages. They're hostages.
And again, just the difference in the beginning of the speech where they're booing Trump to the end where they're cheering for him. The crowd turned so quick. Now, of course, Trump did not get the Libertarian nomination. No. That went to a gay, Antifa-loving, Trump-hating, vaccine mandate-supporting, open borders enthusiast. That great honor, Chase Oliver. Yep, that's who the Libertarian Party has selected as their preferred presidential candidate. Yep. So you can't make this up. Now, obviously, they're not going to nominate Trump, but the Libertarian Party selected Chase Oliver a Antifa-loving, drag queen story hour backing, vaccine mandate supporting, open border enthusiast who hates Trump. He just sounds like a leftist. I don't know how this guy's a libertarian. He just sounds like he's a radical leftist. And this is him defending drag queen story hours for kids.
Why do you think that the drag queens want to read to children?
Because I think that they are performance artists and they want to be able to have different levels of performance art. It's the same reason as why do the Wiggles sing to children? Because they want to have a marketplace to kids.
Oh, drag queen story hours just like the Wiggles. Now, the Libertarian presidential nominee, Chase Oliver, says the quiet part out loud right there at the end. Why? Well, they want to have a market share with kids.
Because they want to have a marketplace to kids.
Yeah, that tracks.
Chase,
they want to be able to. They want to be
the
able
Wiggles,
to.
The Wiggles is made for children. It's obviously family friendly material. Drag queens are not what you call family friendly kind of entertainment.
Okay, but a man in a dress is what drag is, right? Let's just be real. A man in a dress or a woman in a suit is what drag is. Mm-hmm. That is not inherently sexual. There is inherently sexual drag. And you're not going to convince me. I mean, I'm not going to defend otherwise. There absolutely is. But there's also the ability to perform as a man in a wig without being sexual.
Yep. And that's what he wants in front of kids. Okay. In the final round of voting at the Libertarian National Convention, Oliver won 60% of the vote, clearing the majority threshold to secure the nomination for the 2024 election. So that's the Libertarian Party's nominee. The voting itself for that took 7 hours, more than 7 hours, 7 rounds of elimination before Oliver got the nod from his party. Oliver beat out the closest contender, Michael Rechtenwald, a former NYU professor, to take the nomination. And during his victory speech, Oliver said, "I will continue to bring a hopeful and positive message of liberty to both those who consider themselves libertarian and those who don't know they're libertarian yet." He also pledged to his party cohorts that we can set the world free in our lifetimes and would end the genocide in Gaza. He called Trump an authoritarian and said other libertarians should not unite with him at the head of the Republican Party. He also did not want him to address the convention unless he would stand to debate the Libertarian nominee. Just this guy's an absolute joke. Again, he supports Antifa. He supports open borders. He supports vaccine mandates. What is different about this Libertarian nominee than any of the radical leftists we get from the Democrat Party? I haven't seen any separation. I haven't. Blows my mind. So Trump goes in there. He wins guys over. And you know what? He didn't get the nomination. No, Chase Oliver got that. But he did land some big endorsements. In fact, a top libertarian endorsed Trump after the party nominated a gay race communist for president. This guy, Jeremy Kauffman, a very popular libertarian, he's come out and endorsed Donald Trump. He said, "Yesterday, I held up this sign calling Donald Trump supporters socialists. Tonight, the Libertarian Party nominated a gay race communist for president. With those choices, I'm standing with Donald Trump." It's pretty easy choice, right? Senior editor at Human Events Daily, Jack Posobiec, noted the situation. Trump got the Libertarian Party to implode on itself. It will take them years to recover, if ever, from the optics disaster of that clown show convention. Honestly, how is their nominee of the Libertarian Party any different than a radical leftist? I'm not seeing any separation whatsoever. In response to the endorsement of Trump from Kauffman and other posts supporting Trump in the 2024 election, many libertarians and others online found it ironic that the pick could drive many libertarians away from Oliver as the nominee and instead to Trump as a Republican. Yep. Trump did win the Libertarian Party after all, especially when you look at who they nominated. Many people online, Chase Oliver is the best Libertarian Party candidate for helping reelect Donald Trump. Maybe he is. Wild to see. 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
An Israeli military spokesperson says they will investigate what transpired in Gaza that led to the death of dozens of Palestinian civilians and another alleged assault at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. We'll have those stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. It's 10:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, I mean, Trump goes to the Libertarian National Convention and he wins over a bunch of voters. He wins over a top libertarian voice in the movement. But yet the hit pieces are incoming on Trump at the Libertarian Convention. The Mirror in the UK, they wrote a headline, Donald Trump's confidence takes a hit as he sends a warning signal to a crowd booing him. I don't know about you. I didn't hear Trump's confidence take a hit when he essentially mocked the libertarians that if they want to just keep getting their 3% to go for it.
That I will put a libertarian in my cabinet and also libertarians in senior posts.
I mean, it's a mixed crowd. Some are cheering him.
Pretty good. That's pretty big. Or you can keep going the way you have for the last long decades and get your 3% and meet again, get another 3%. No, you want to make yourself winners. It's time to be winners. You have a lot of common sense. It's time to be a winner.
That sounds like a guy who's very confident in roasting the people in attendance. You don't want to vote for me? Hey, enjoy your 3%. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is indeed 11 a.m., and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got sunshine. We're up to 80 degrees now. A complete forecast in just a couple of minutes. A spokesman for the Israeli military is promising a swift, comprehensive, and transparent investigation into the airstrike that resulted in the deaths of dozens of Palestinians in Rafah on Sunday. After the strike targeting Hamas leaders, a fire erupted at a refugee camp that killed dozens. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 50 people were killed. Israeli Defense Forces spokesman Daniel Hagari said the munition used in the airstrike alone could not have caused a fire that large.
We are looking into all possibilities, including the option that weapons stored in a compound next to our target, which we did not know of, may have ignited as a result of the strike.
Back in the U.S., the rough weather in parts of the country causing a real travel mess on the roads and in the air. ABC News' Gio Benitez, he's at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
We've been looking at flight delays and cancellations all morning long, so let's update you. Let's show you where we are right now. More than 500 delays across America and more than 100 cancellations so far. And I want to say so far because as weather moves in, those numbers could rise.
Back here in Nashville, a patient at Vanderbilt University Medical Center was arrested Monday after police say he exposed himself to a staff member and then assaulted her. Robert Dodson, 37, is charged with indecent exposure, assault on a medical employee, and false imprisonment. Police responded after a hospital staff member escorted Dodson into a bathroom so he could take a shower. Dodson allegedly shut the door, exposed himself to the employee, tried to kiss her neck, and then asked for sex. Dodson only let the woman go after somebody else tried to get into the bathroom. Dodson remains jailed on a $4,000 bond. This incident is the third time in a month that a Vanderbilt University Medical Center employee has been assaulted on the hospital's campus in Nashville. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
$11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So we covered Trump at the Libertarian National Convention. It's just been amazing to watch this guy go into places where he's supposed to not be liked, like in the Bronx or the Libertarian National Convention. And he wins people over. I don't know why CNN lets Republican strategists on anymore, because the Republican strategists will get on CNN and be like, dude, this strategy's working.
Trump going there this week, they are striking such a confident pose right now. He goes to the libertarians and tells them, if you want to keep getting your 3%, go ahead. Otherwise, come with me. He goes to the Bronx and says, I'm better than Joe Biden. I'm trying to build a party that's inclusive of you. I think all the places he's going, they are striking this confident pose. And it's a campaign unlike we've seen from other Republican candidates. I think it's pretty confident, and they know they're winning, and they're trying to take advantage of that position.
Yeah, and they're operating from a position of strength. That's Scott Jennings, the Republican strategist on CNN. He wasn't the only Republican on CNN that likes Trump's strategy. Shermichael Singleton was also singing Trump's praises.
So look, I think going to the Libertarian Convention was smart. According to Gallup, they represent 17-20% of the American electorate. Maybe you shave off 8% of them. That can make a difference in a very, very tight presidential race. Regardless of the reasons, going to the Bronx, it's important. No one should be presumptive to assume that people of color are going to just vote one way purely because they're black or because they're Hispanic. That seems to be the case for my Democratic friends. And I think it's why a lot of people of color are looking at Joe Biden and they're realizing that my life is not better. When I go to the grocery store, things are expensive. The infrastructure in my surrounding community has not improved. And when I think about the future for my children, they're still in dilapidated schools where the educational system is deplorable. That's the Democratic message in my perspective. And so to have a Republican show up, whether he's being booed, jeered, whatever the case may be, he's showing up to places where Joe Biden is not, and I think that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, and I hope he keeps doing it. Like, where else are we going to go? Let's do Chicago. I know he's doing Detroit here in a few weeks with Turning Point Action. That's going to be fun. I'm going to be there for that. He should go anywhere where Joe won't go, which is, spoiler alert, going to be a lot of places. Joe doesn't have the energy or the stamina to campaign. He doesn't. Now, it doesn't stop junior campaign spokesman Quentin Fowlkes from getting up there and saying, listen, voters have a lot of concerns. He doesn't say why Trump is the wrong choice, but he does say Trump is trash, essentially.
I think that voters are concerned about their economics. I think voters are concerned about their health care. I think voters are concerned about child care, about housing and rent and mortgage affordability. And Donald Trump is only in this campaign because he wants revenge and retribution.
It's amazing when you listen to the difference between the two. You have Republican strategists who are saying Trump is going where Biden won't. He's reaching voters in different communities. I mean, in the Bronx the other day, there was a woman who said, finally, we're getting the VIP treatment. Nobody ever comes here. Well, Joe's not coming. And then Joe's guys get on there and they cite all these voter concerns, all these concerns.
About their economics. I think voters are concerned about their health care. I think voters are concerned about child care, about housing and rent and mortgage affordability.
And he doesn't say that Joe's going to fix any of that. He just says Trump is out for retribution.
And Donald Trump is only in this campaign because he wants revenge and retribution.
I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't mind a little revenge and retribution. I think that everybody should be investigated. Let's go. Investigate everybody. Let's go like Nayib Bukele out of El Salvador. Everybody in this room is going to be investigated. Let's do it. But the difference is, I think that the other stuff is much more important to your average Trump voter. We want the southern border closed. We want the economy back up and running. We want no more foreign wars. We want our tax dollars to benefit taxpayers. These are the real issues. The revenge and retribution stuff, yeah, we'll get to that. We have bigger fish to fry first. And Biden's people will get up there and they'll acknowledge the concerns, but they don't have any answers. The best that they can do is call Trump Hitler or use some sort of scare tactic or say, the adults are in charge. But they have no actual answers for anything. And their candidate's an absolute mess. Joe Biden did the West Point commencement over the weekend as well. He didn't do great.
I was appointed by the fellow I ran against when I was 29 years old to the Naval Academy. I was one of 10. I wanted to play football. And the day I was supposed to go down for the interview, a classmate of mine who was also one of the 10 appointed to be chosen from, named Steve Dunning, came to pick me up. And I had found out 2 days earlier they had a quarterback named Roger Staubach and a halfback named Joe Bellino. I said, I'm not going there. I went to Delaware.
Old football stories from the number one flanker back in the country, Joe Biden. And did he say...
You know it, man. Come on, flanker back, bro.
He's the best. But he said that Staubach played for Navy, right?
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, he played for Army, right?
Just don't say that. Yeah, just come on.
And he was top 10 appointed.
Come on, man.
Also, one thing, he said he was a wide receiver. Why wouldn't you want to play with a great quarterback if you're a wide receiver?
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't have any idea. It got much worse though at the commencement speech. Full disclosure, it didn't take long before he started yelling about Putin.
Putin was certain that NATO would fracture. I met with him right after being elected president, right after I was sworn in. And we talked about this very issue. In the fall, he decided to, look, I shouldn't get into this probably. It gets me a little excited.
What is he saying? What is he saying about Putin? Putin! Putin!
Putin!
Putin! And then before the fall, after the fall.
Was certain that NATO would fracture. I met with him right after being elected president right after I was sworn in.
I met with him right after being elected president right after I was sworn in. I met with him right after being elected president right after I was sworn in.
I met with him right after being elected president right after I was sworn in.
What kind of sentence is that? This is the adult in charge.
And we talked about this very issue. In the fall, he decided to, look, I shouldn't get into this probably. It gets me a little excited.
Yeah, we shouldn't get into it if it gets you a little excited. Mac, I'm going to need this on the hotkey. You ready?
It gets me a little excited.
It's a good one. That's a good one, right?
Oh, that's perfect. Instant ad.
Yep.
It gets me a little excited.
And then he had a Jeb Bush moment also at the West Point commencement.
Never forget, America is the strongest when we lead not only by our example of our power, but by the power of our example. You can clap for that.
Okay. Also,
hey, you can clap
for that. It's like, but you're reading your teleprompter so choppy. Like,
it's like hard to follow kind of where he's going.
Like he's like, we lead by the power of our example, the example of our power, something like that. But he like pauses awkwardly.
Strongest when we lead not only by our example of our power.
Right there. You're not only we lead by the example of our power is how he's supposed to read. But he said, not only we lead by our example of our power,
but by the power of our example. You can clap for that.
You can clap for that. It's a good one. Please clap. Please clap. Jeez. And then he had this as well.
As President Lincoln said, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth.
Yep. Just hacking. I feel like Joe Biden's had long COVID this entire presidency.
He started off the quote with the cough.
Yep.
Hey, he used to say this.
Well, it's funny. I was like thinking to myself, like if I was fake news, I would do some editing, right? And I would take the cough, and then I would take the please clap, and I could just roll it all into one.
As President Lincoln said, you can clap for that.
But I'm not going to do that.
But I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that.
I'm better than that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I mean,
that's good.
The two candidates couldn't be any more different. Do you think Joe Biden would go anywhere where he's not going to be cheered and applauded? I mean, I know it's getting harder and harder in his own Democratic events because of the pro-Hamas wing of the left that's happening in this country, where he gets heckled by his own supporters. But the difference couldn't be clearer between the two. Trump is going into places where he's supposed to be hated. The Bronx, the Libertarian National Convention. He's landing big endorsements from voters, from big libertarians. Biden goes into the commencement speech at West Point. He can barely speak. He can't read a teleprompter. He just can't. And you have new polling out that says Trump leads Biden and Harris in a new Bloomberg poll. So the latest Morning Consult Bloomberg poll says Trump is up. It's new swing state polling. It's revealed that voters in the 7 swing states, if found in the position that Kamala Harris was the Democrat nominee, would vote for Trump over the current vice president by a wide margin. And Trump also has a lead over Biden in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. In Arizona, 51% of voters say they would cast their ballot for Trump compared to 42% who say they would vote for Harris. Trump holds a 5-point lead over Joe Biden in Arizona in the head-to-head matchup, as well as a race including third-party candidates. Trump is up big. He's up 7 in Pennsylvania. He's up 8 in Wisconsin. He's up 10 in North Carolina. He's up 9 in Arizona, 8 in Georgia. Nevada, he's up 3. Those are all over Kamala Harris because nobody expects Joe Biden to make it to the finish line. Kamala Harris is not the replacement you want because he beats her in these swing states even larger than the lead he has over Biden. Over Biden in the new Morning Consult Bloomberg News poll, Trump is up in Pennsylvania by 2, up in Wisconsin by 1, up in North Carolina by 7. Trump's up in Arizona over Biden by 5, up by 3 in Georgia, tied in Nevada. He's running away with this. He's running away with it. Eric in Morristown, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Eric?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I hope everybody had a somber and remembrance yesterday at Memorial Day. Hey, real quick, man, regarding what Biden said or didn't say in West Point commencement address. He also said, quote, there are no there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, close quote. Now, maybe some people are missing this. He said a mouthful without saying anything, okay? There are American combat troops downrange participating in the theater of operations within the Ukrainian army, okay? Because war is a legal definition. War has to be declared and voted on by the U.S. Congress. Has to be approved in order for it to be, hey, we are at war, okay?
We haven't done that in a while either.
Yeah, exactly. Since World War II, right?
Yep.
It's all been peace actions or conflict resolution, yada yada. That's a legal definition. Now, American soldiers at war. Okay, what does that mean? How do you think these HIMARS, these mobile rocket systems, are being targeted? There's American advisors with each and every one of those targeting systems and rocket systems. Where are they getting this aerial reconnaissance from? Hint, it's not from the Ukrainian Air Force because they have no air superiority. The Russians have air dominance. Where are all this ISR and satellites coming from? That's coming from America. There are special operations troops. I'm willing to bet my reputation on it that there are American special operations conducting reconnaissance and surveillance on the ground in Ukraine right now.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a radical statement. I mean, I don't think that doesn't shock anybody. I would be shocked if the opposite were true.
Sure, understood. Now, with that said, so we're kind of on this. You can follow the logic train here. Okay, now, who within the Senate Armed Services Committee knows about these quote-unquote American soldiers not at war in Ukraine? Who within the intelligence community knows that they're not American soldiers, quote, at war in Ukraine? There are people read into this, and I believe right now with what's going on in Europe, with the unveiling of all these new, we're reinstituting compulsory service from, Ukraine to the UK now. We're going to reinstitute conscription. The European Union is looking to just go at the parliaments. You can look into just grab every able-bodied person to send them into theater in Ukraine. We got Democrats here in the United States now that want to make it automatic selective service registration for all 18-year-olds. However, with the caveat to ensure fairness and equity. Close quote. So we're on a I don't know if it's high-speed rail to doom and gloom, Armageddon. Hopefully there's no mushrooms that start sprouting up around the North American or in the European continent. But I think people really should. I think Biden's a buffoon. I don't think he's running this country. I think he's just out there. He's the magpie of the month, if you will. I think that the United States is being run by committee and not by law right now. And unfortunately, I appreciate the time allowing me to rant a little bit. Unfortunately, the GOP is not the opposition party. The GOP, the only opposition is to us who are trying to hold them accountable for what is or is not going on. They can have all the investigations they want. It goes back to, if we're not at war, why are all these American troops downrange, in my opinion, conducting combat support operations? There's a whole litany of stuff that can be done under the filings of combat support, troop support, administrative support, yada, yada.
Hey, proxy wars are pretty lucrative, Eric.
100%. There's no money in peace.
Yep.
There's no money in peace. Anyway, thanks for the time, man. I just want to get that out there. Maybe people missed it. I'm willing to bet my reputation. There are American troops performing combat training, operations, and support downrange in Ukraine, and even to the point of conducting direct action missions, running high-speed rail, hits, if you will, moving, shooting, and flowing through targets to, target subject, houses, if you will, or buildings to, rescue this, hit that, take care of this, because anyway, I could go on, man. I just appreciate the time, man.
Absolutely, Eric. We always love it when you call in, man. And none of that would shock me in the least. But under Biden, we get proxy wars. Under Trump, we get peace. But, who's keeping score? It's 11:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Closing arguments continue in the Trump hush money trial, and we'll have the latest. And another alleged assault at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Those stories coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. It's 11:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mac is getting roasted on the Super Talk text line, the members nutrition text line. Staubach did play for Navy. Roger Staubach. He did. So that's why we have a sports guy.
Well then, aren't our faces red?
Mike, who's in the car, wants to talk about Biden. Mike, you're on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, if you just thinking about Biden, he's a It's shameful, really. He's definitely not running the country. And his speeches off a teleprompter, no one else has ever done that. And if you think to back, say, Ronald Reagan, if you would have, how convincing would he have sounded if you had, at the Berlin Wall, if he had sounded like Biden?
Yeah.
Telling Gorbachev to tear down the wall. You can say, Mr. Gorbachev, could you tear down the thing?
Yeah.
That would not have sounded very convincing.
It would have said, well, anyway, I probably shouldn't.
I shouldn't get into this problem.
You're not lying, Mike. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, imagine if Reagan's at the Berlin Wall and he says...
If it gets me a little excited.
It's okay. All right. Got it. Hey, we're going to tear down the wall. Please clap.
You can clap for that.
Yeah.
Who said it better, Jed or Biden?
I see. I'm a sucker for the original.
It's fair.
And people in the audience kind of knew that the clap, the need for the clap was coming.
You can clap for that.
Jeb's please clap was a little bit different.
Jed's is a little more awkward, actually.
Yeah, much more awkward. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you power rank those. I'll let the members nutrition text line decide whose was worse, Jeb Bush or...
You can clap for that.
It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you missed it, Pete Buttigieg was talking about climate change on CBS's Face the Nation over the weekend. I have the audio for you. It's incredible what things we can blame on climate change, and we'll list them out next. Hang out with us. 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is indeed 11:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got plenty of sun, and we're up to 81 degrees now. A full forecast in just a couple of minutes. Closing arguments continue in New York in the hush money trial against the former President Trump. The defense is going after Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. They say he's got a history of being a liar. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer says portions of Cohen's testimony could actually help Trump's case.
Not only finding out that he's a liar, but also that he allegedly stole to the tune of $30,000 from Donald Trump. And just the way the defense attacked his credibility, that stood out the most to me. I think that's going to stand out the most to the jury to see whether or not the evidence that the prosecutors brought forward supported what Michael Cohen said, or whether or not his credibility is going to make him lose his case for them.
Back in Nashville, a patient at Vanderbilt University Medical Center was arrested Monday after police say he exposed himself to a staff member and then allegedly assaulted her. Robert Dodson, 37, is charged with indecent exposure, assault on a medical employee, and false imprisonment. Police responded after a hospital staff member escorted Dodson into a bathroom so he could take a shower. Dodson allegedly shut the door, exposed himself to the employee, tried to kiss her neck, and then asked for sex. Dodson only let the woman go after somebody else was trying to get into the bathroom. Dodson remains in jail on a $4,000 bond. This incident is the third time in a month that a Vanderbilt University Medical Center employee has been assaulted on the hospital's campus here in Nashville. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. It's 11:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, here for my friends at the Glock Store. Hey, the open house this Saturday, the 4th annual open house at the Glock Store from 10 to 2. Are you excited? Have you been to the Glock Store yet? I hadn't been. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of like the newbie to the Glock Store and the Shoot 270 ranges, and I've been that way for quite a while, but not anymore. Had my first session in the 270 ranges just a couple weeks ago. Incredible. No lanes, no pains, just me and my private instructor in me and my instructor in a private room. It's so different than lane range training, and I learned more about shooting in that 1 hour than all of my lane range sessions put together. Ask for Kevin if you're going to get lessons, because he's amazing. Have you experienced the Shoot 270 indoor ranges? They're only at the Glock Store, so if you haven't been there, the quick answer is no. And if the answer is no, June 1st is going to be a great time to check them out. Saturday, June 1st, again, the 4th annual open house for the Glock Store. You've probably seen the billboards. They're giving away thousands of dollars of great raffle prizes. They're going to have fascinating political and two-way supporting speakers, and two of their most engaging shooting competitions with great prizes are happening as well. The Vortex Fast and Accurate stage and the Nightstick Low Light, No Light stage, which if you haven't seen the Low Light, No Light training, that is worth the price of admission alone, and there's no admission price. You just show up. Incredible one-day only prices are happening at the open house on Glock handguns, performance parts, flash sales, and they're raffling off a custom Glock worth over $1,700 that day. You only need to be there to enter, not to win. The Glock store in Shoot 270, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere, especially on June 1st. $11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. You can ask, even Jeff knows I follow back. All right?
Can confirm this is true.
I didn't even know it was Jeff, and I followed him back.
It made me feel special, okay?
I had no idea. Like, all right, I follow you back. So it was a slow news weekend, right? I guess that's what a lot of people say. It's like a little bit slow. I mean, we had the Trump stuff. He was at the Libertarian National Convention. That was fascinating, but it must have been semi-slow because CBS Face the Nation. They had Pete Buttigieg on to talk about climate change. Margaret Brennan was interviewing him, and Pete actually, he blames everything on climate change, up to and including turbulence in airplanes.
The reality is the effects of climate change are already upon us in terms of our transportation. We've seen that in the form of everything from heat waves that shouldn't statistically even be possible, threatening to melt the cables of transit systems in the Pacific Northwest, to hurricane seasons becoming more and more extreme, and indications that turbulence is up by about 15%.
Oh, turbulence, heat waves, melting cables. More intense hurricanes. It's all climate change. So we all have to get an EV and be carbon neutral and all the things, right? It's amazing, though, because he's asked about Trump trashing EVs, electric vehicles. And at one point, they play a clip for Buttigieg, and Margaret Brennan gets into it with Buttigieg because she says, Trump's not wrong.
Donald Trump repeatedly talks about President Biden's decision to force the industry towards making 56% of car batteries electric by 2032, 13% hybrid. Listen to what he said in New Jersey recently.
Do you notice he's trying to save the electrical vehicle, but not the gas-powered, which is the vehicle that everybody wants. They're going crazy with the electric car, costing us a fortune. We're spending hundreds of billions of dollars subsidizing a car that nobody wants and nobody's ever going to buy.
He's not wrong. On the purchasing. He's not. Of the 4 million vehicles purchased, 269,000 electric vehicles were sold in the U.S. market. It's up like 2%.
Every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year. Well, this is really important.
More quickly.
Every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year prior.
Yeah, every year, more EVs are bought than the year prior. Okay. I mean, the prices are going down, so maybe that helps. They're more available. Maybe that helps. People don't want these cars. And then Pete gets called out because, we've invested $7 or $8 billion for charging stations, billions of dollars for charging stations, and only 7 or 8 of them have been built. Biden earmarked billions of dollars back in 2021 to build charging stations all over the country. Only 7 or 8 have been built so far, and Buttigieg gets called out for that.
The Federal Highway Administration says only 7 or 8 charging stations have been produced with a $7.5 billion investment that taxpayers made back in 2021.
So that's if quick napkin math, if it's $7.5 to $8 billion invested, 7 or 8 chargers have been made. That's $1 billion per charging station so far.
Why isn't that happening more quickly?
So the president's goal is to have 500,000 chargers up by the end of this decade. Now, in order to do a charger, it's more than just plunking a small device into the ground. There's utility work, and this is also really a new category of federal investment. But we've been working with each of the 50 states. Every one of them is getting formula dollars to do this work, engaging them in the first handful. Again, by 2030, 500,000 chargers.
You can hear Margaret Brennan laugh at him. If you listen closely, she goes 7 or 8 though, and then Pete just keeps dancing. He keeps dancing around the question, and he ignores what she says, and you can hear her go, ha.
Engaging them in the first handful, again, by 2030, 500,000.
You hear that? You hear the little pump? Yeah.
500.
There's a little huff under there.
500,000 chargers, and the very first handful of chargers are now already being physically built.
Yeah, and also the chargers are now physically being separated from the charging station because of all the copper in the connecting piece. So you have people effectively making them useless because they're stealing the charging port for the copper.
Did you see that there was something, I believe it was in San Francisco, where they actually had those Tesla charging stations and the actual charger cut off completely?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
People are cutting those off because of the copper in them.
That's just it blows my mind that of course it's in those crime-ridden cities, but it just blows my mind how they want that as the future.
Yep, that's what they want in every major city, and then you got to wait there. Even if it's working, you got to wait there for a couple hours. I don't know, man. Tim in the borough wants to talk about EV cars. Tim, you're on Super Talk.
Hey, I got a little stat that I think you'll find very interesting. Car business for 25 years, go to mass auctions all over the Southeast United States.
Okay.
And monitoring these $60,000, cars that are pouring through the auction that are 2 years old, And these cars, believe it or not, are only bringing right out about $20,000. A 30 to 40,000 mile car that sold for 60, 2 years later, coming off of a lease, is selling for 20,000.
Why is that, Tim?
Well, it's because the replacement cost on those batteries, which are going to be dead in about a year, are upwards of 8,000 to 10,000, and the dealer does not want to absorb that cost.
Interesting.
It's ridiculous. They're sitting everywhere in fields that they can't sell used even.
So how long does the actual battery last? Like if it's got 40,000 miles on it, you say it's got another year. What are we looking at on those batteries?
They're saying 50 to 60,000 miles is when they're going to be replaced, depending on how they're driven. Actually driving them, according to what they say, is just around town, is actually harder on them than interstate travel. So it really depends on the time frame and how you're actually driving them. But but here's a little bit of tidbit to that. It's a lease; they turn them in, and then the manufacturers are eating that cost, the residual value. If someone buys that car and then they go to try to trade that car in 2 to 3 years, they're going to be so far upside down, there isn't a bank in the country that's going to tack that on to a new loan. No. So they basically cannot trade them unless they have massive amounts of cash down.
And then it's $8,000 to $10,000 for a new battery, you said. And then what do they do with the old battery? They just throw it in a field somewhere.
No, there's a mess. That's another thing the dealer don't want to deal with. The fee to get rid of those batteries is upwards of $1,000 per pack. So it's a never-ending cycle. It's not all the roses that the government wants us to think they are.
But we're saving the environment, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What a joke. Hey, I appreciate your insight, man.
All right.
Let's go to West, who's also in the borough. Wants to talk about charging stations. West, you're on Super Talk.
Thank you for taking my call. This incompetent nerd, Pete Buttigieg, at the end of World War II, the United States of America was building 3 Liberty ships. And for the younger people, those are 3 cargo ships a day. All the shipyards across the country were just, these things were just rolling out of the dry dock, 3 a day. And, and they geared up in 3 years. I mean, because, December 7th, 1941, it took them 6 months to start making all these. This is like the old Soviet era. They'd have these 1-year plans and 5-year plans, and they failed miserably. People starved. These people are incompetent, and they're trying to tell us how to live. If American people wanted these EVs, they'd be buying them, and Ford would not be losing $150,000 a car.
Yeah, and I tend to think that incompetent is too nice.
They're corrupt. We can go that far. There's so much corruption involved with that too, because it's going into so many places. Nobody in the government has a clue where all the money's going. Not a bit.
No, they have no idea. Hey, I appreciate the call, Wes.
Thank you.
Yeah, 7 or 8 charging stations being built after $7 or $8 billion invested. Don't worry though. The Biden administration, they are focused on what they need to be focused on. I saw a report that Biden is getting ready for a White House address. A White House address after the Trump verdict. Trump's defense is making closing arguments now in the, as they call it, the trial of the century. And now reports are sharing that apparently Joe Biden is planning to publicly address the verdict in a White House setting following the jury's decision. According to multiple sources close to Biden who spoke to Politico, the president will address Trump's legal issues to discuss the trial's outcome. Biden's intention to speak from the White House rather than the campaign venue is an attempt to frame his remarks as non-political. But they say that no matter what happens, what the outcome is, whether he's convicted, acquitted, or the jury's found unable to agree on a verdict, Biden's going to address the public. The White House reportedly intends to portray to the American public, regardless of the trial outcome, that the legal system worked and the judicial process should be respected. How does that work in Biden's favor if Trump is acquitted? How does that work in Biden's favor if there's a hung jury? I only see this working for Joe if Trump is convicted. The White House wants to portray to the American public that the judicial process should be respected. Interesting. An anonymous source spoke to Politico and said, this is an important moment, and the president first and foremost needs to stress that the American system works, even and especially in an election year. And in a measured way, it becomes part of his argument against Trump, too. Do Americans really want this? So should Trump be convicted, Biden plans to argue that this verdict demonstrates Trump's unfitness for office. Biden campaign is also preparing to launch social media posts attacking Trump, potentially labeling him as convicted felon Donald Trump. But the thing that I think is the most fascinating behind this is that none of this matters. None of the outcomes of this trial actually matter to any voters. If you think Donald Trump should be convicted, you're not voting for him, and you're not going to, even if he's not convicted. If you think Donald Trump should be acquitted, you're voting for him, and none of this matters, even if he's acquitted. It just doesn't matter. For the trial of the century, the outcome really doesn't matter. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy joining me in studio after a long holiday weekend. How you doing, Matt?
I'm well. Hello, Chris Hand. How are you?
I'm good. So
Good. Glad to hear it.
Jaws. Terrible movie.
Jaws. Oh, the film Jaws.
You don't like it. Tell me why. Tell me why you don't like Jaws.
So I'm listening this morning to Nashville's Morning News, as I do.
As you tend to.
And, normally I get into the office around 8 to make sure that I'm in position, so I'm watching on Super Talk TV,
Okay.
as opposed to just listening on my radio, which is what I do before 8. And I get in, and I see the Gang of Four Amigos, and if you don't watch, it's just a hoot.
Yes.
I think there's a great experience going on the radio. I think the experience off air, on the television side of things, is even better. And so I don't see you trolling Dan Mandis because the camera was screwed up, but I heard you trolling Dan Mandis, and it was masterful. I mean, you sir are a master baiter of Dan Mandis.
Okay. Interesting take.
Because you fish him, you throw the line out there, and you just
get
him.
But I honestly don't like Jaws.
Have you ever watched Jaws?
Yeah.
I have $1,000 you've never sat through the entirety of Jaws.
Sat through the entire thing.
When did you do that?
Years ago.
Years ago.
Like a
Did
decade.
you like the ending at least?
Were you sober?
Probably not.
Okay.
If it was, no, probably not at the time.
Okay.
The ending is great, at least. You got to give him that. The ending is great. Come on, somebody.
Don't talk to me.
I knew I upset Matt, though, because I got a text that said, "What movies do you like?"
No. I
And
said, what?
I read it.
What did I say?
I read it like
No.
this. I read it like this. What movies do you like?
No, that's not what I
That's
said.
how I read it. That's how I read it.
I'm going to look it up.
That's how I read it.
I said at 8:49 this morning, what is your favorite movie?
What is your favorite movie?
I didn't say
What
there's no is.
What
It's
is
right there.
your-
Look. It's right there. Look, I didn't say there's no is.
What is your favorite movie?
What is your favorite? There's no capital I, capital S.
I read it the way you would say it.
I wish there were italics in text, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
I like the italics can give you a different tone flavor because sometimes I do the capitalization. I feel like people think I'm yelling at them when I'm just trying to emphasize the word.
I feel like you could send me something all lowercase, and I think you're yelling.
That's typical. What is your favorite movie? You give me some Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints? You never seen Boondock Saints?
I have seen the movie.
It's classic.
Sure. Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So I tried to not. I made a commitment.
Boondock Saints is unequivocally better than Jaws.
Mm-hmm. I try not to make a matter of taste. This is a Murphy mantra, right? I started this years ago, despite my hard take on certain things. I try not to make a matter of taste a matter of fact. I try not to make a matter of taste a matter of fact. I like McDonald's. Well, you're wrong because McDonald's suck. Well, no, who am I to tell you? So I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I am here to tell you that you have horrible taste in movies.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Is that? I'll rewatch Boondock Saints if you rewatch Jaws.
Perfect.
Is that fair?
We should have a marathon.
You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. You've been counting money all your life. That's a great line. Great line.
Murphy shows up next. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dun, 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 dun.